Hey there, everybody. You know all my friends really call me #LadyNerd whenever we're hanging out together. That's kind of the part of me that became Soul Writer anyway. There's a channel around here that has some of the greatest dads on the internet, Cinema Therapy, that has taught me so much about writing. Here's the 5 things they've taught me that I think are the most important to share with you all. Let's jam. Hello there, everybody. My name is Jenna O'Malley. I am your soul writer, author of sci-fi fantasy with dashes of romance and nerdy references. Alongside the raw healing stories my characters weave throughout time and space, I help other soul bards, such as yourselves, jam it out in your pace, in your time, in your stride, to get back to your writerly ways when life has decided to put its foul plays into place. Let's forge something new for you and your readers from the soul. And oh my goodness, I think that's what Jono and what Alan do every single episode of Cinema Therapy. Seriously, they take some of the movies we love from past, present, and Lord only knows what timeline, and they just look at the screen direction, the scripting, and they take a psychological turn on it. They're actually one of the channels that inspired me to go full on in with my second channel, Soul Bard Collective, where we kind of talk about, well, the same, the psychology, metaphysicology, esoterics of writing and creation. So, what are 5 things that Cinema Therapy has taught me about writing that I think all of us could take into account? Number 1, conflict drives every single moment in the plot in some way, shape, or form. They recently looked at Comey Can't Communicate, which is an anime I adore, and that is one of the things that they kind of brought up was the minute conflicts of daily life, and how sometimes it's not the major arcana, the major events that are important. Sometimes it's the daily things we do that add up that are just as important in order to be able to help yourself or a friend change. So I like how in their episode of Comey Can't Communicate, they really deep dive into much of the conflict of the series, and it's over a simple concept that social phobia is something a lot of us have and struggle with. Next one, let's go. Head to number 2, number 4. Depends on which way you're approaching the list, right? Even a jerk can become the hero everyone cries over in the end. They, at Cinema Therapy, did a 3 or 4 episode arc solely on Iron Man. Let's admit it, Iron Man started out in the very first Iron Man movie as the smug, stuck-up billionaire and gave a lot of people the rub the wrong way effect, but at the same time, Jono and Alan go through and discover how this character's arc across all of the Marvel Empire is one of the most changed for the better characters, even though he's a good guy. So if you want to learn a lot about writing the bad boy character, go watch their videos on Iron Man, because the things they delve into in a deep dive are great for character building and conflict building, therefore. Number 3, so the love of your life doesn't always have to be a romantic love interest. Again and again and again, Cinema Therapy delves into this. They've done the Frozen franchise. That's one of the first things they latched onto was the fact that Frozen threw all of us for a loop. It was not your stereotypical princess movie. It was about the love of a sister as your soulmate. At the same time, in their movies on Despicable Me, on Inside Out, Cinema Therapy kind of comes back to that again of how the people you're really meant to be with aren't always necessarily a romantic relationship that is focused on. So if you're looking at how to build connections to your friends, go check out those videos they've done and just get some ideas going of stories that do it right and how they capitalized on doing it right. Then, of course, A villain's story can be turned around. Despicable Me! They just did a movie on, an episode rather, on Despicable Me, and a comment they made was, the first movie was epic, it was funny, because it was not afraid to lean into the dark, but as soon as the minions became the butt of the joke, puns intended to banana levels, it seems like a lot of that nuanced darkness put in there specifically for the adults went away. And definitely so. Just because your villain becomes the good guy does not mean he also needs to lose his dark sense of humor, I think is what they were hinting at in that moment. In my opinion, the villain stays funny if they take that with them, because they take their experience with them as the bad guy if they have a turn of heart story. Number 1. Most important, above all, hence why I save best for last. I think I say this almost in every single edit I do, to the point I have now decided whether or not I should just do a copy-paste to my clients and a comment on it to give them the details I mean, or to the point that it's come up in almost every coaching I've done on developmentally building a book world. Whenever you are trying to say who a character is, do it like Marvel did Vision. 'Cause, yeah, if you remember the first time we actually meet, Jarvis, now Vision, we learned all we needed to know about Vision like that. He didn't need to say a thing. What did they do? As cinema therapy sets it up to say, paraphrasing here, if you can do it in a paragraph and that's the shortest, do it in a paragraph. If you can do it in a sentence and that's the most efficient way, do it that way. If you can do it in a phrase, do it that way. If you can have the character pick up a hammer and automatically you know everything you need to know about that hammer and how the rest of the cast reacts to that hammer being picked up, you don't need anyone to say anything. On screen, that took 3 seconds for Vision to pick up Mjolnir and say, "You guys ready to go?" And everyone's like, he's not supposed to be able to do that, is he? That's the elephant in the room question that nobody's asking. And everyone in the audience feels that every time they watch that scene. Use those moments to your advantage. If you can build them in organically, if you need to learn how to build a bridge to it, come on and sit down with me and we'll talk about your book and your bookish business anytime, any place. I hope you're doing everything you can to take care of not just your characters, not just your books, not just your business, but you at the center of it all. Because without your soul doing the work,